Hello everyone, this is Audrey, Jamal, and Tara's Chapter 4 presentation for our final exam today, April 26, 2021. Our presentation of Far Out Subculture, a look at the hippie subculture, will show the hippie subculture and how it applies to Dick Hebedige's subculture theory. Hebedige deployed semiotics to analyze how texts and products are used in subversive ways by youth subcultures in order to articulate their resistance to dominant ideologies in society. So what is a subculture? A subculture is an underground set of practices, usually working class in character, that try to resist surveillance by the dominant subculture, or mainstream society. Hebdige believes that through signs and symbols you can recognize different subcultures. So what subculture do you think this is? The answer is bikers. What subculture do you think this is? The answer is goths. And lastly, what subculture do you think this is? If you said hippies, you are correct.
You may recognize the hippie subculture from popular movies such as these. The hippie counterculture started in the 1960s. A counterculture is when a subculture has beliefs or practices that are radically different from the mainstream society. Countercultures do not wish to function inside mainstream society. At this point in time, Americans and many other people around the world feared nuclear annihilation. And during the 1960s, the Vietnam War was happening. According to hippies, mainstream authority was the root of all problems. Hippies looked at the nation's size, its use of brutal force, its large enthusiastic military, and thought that was not a proper way to run a country. Hippies argued that America needed a new ethics approach, a new way of seeing the world. Their mission was bringing the world to a radical change. They wanted to build a new society on the ruins of the old, corrupt one. Hippies' customs norm. They lived by the motto, make love, not war. Hippies had strong ideals about sex and sexuality. They didn't agree with mainstream society's opposition to masturbation. The idea sex should be strictly marital and feeling guilty for being sexually active. They loved all things peace and nature. Were known for their peaceful protests, and hippies were big into drugs like LSD and marijuana. They took drugs to expand their minds and live a stress-free life. Hippies are known for their kickback attitude, where they are chill and don't have a care in the world. Hippies were arrested for either possession or distribution of drugs, panhandling, and obstructing the sidewalk. You weren't a hippie if you didn't get arrested for drugs at least once. Rock and roll was the music of the hippies. Bob Dylan, favorite of many hippies, told a line in a song, "To live outside the law, you must be honest." They were easily recognized by the use of peace signs, shiny colors, tie-dye, ripped jeans, long hair, and undesirable facial hair for men, and they celebrated non-conformity.
Media portrayal of hippies. Media coverage of hippies was generally really negative. The media had a tendency to focus on the drug use, which backfired. The older generation who read the articles about hippies saw the drug use as really bad, which the media intended, but the younger generation read this and saw these drugs as something cool and exciting, leading them to start using them. Time was not a fan of hippies and even called them a cult in one of their many articles on hippies. Where Americans adopted a lot of their ideology and commercialized hippie products, leading to the death of subculture. $100 leather jackets and pants were being sold. You could buy love beads and the Benjamin Franklin glasses that were among hippies. You could even run a hippie in some places for only $10. Not only were products popularized, but their ideals were too. Their ideals on sexuality became very modern among Americans. Though not nearly as popular, hippies are still around today. They still take an issue that haven't been resolved, such as environmentalism. Hippies and subculture theory. By looking at the hippie counterculture, we can use that it matches up with subculture theory. We know that subcultures go against mainstreams society, and hippies hated the way mainstream society was run. Subcultures have their own set of beliefs and norms that differ from society, and hippies had their own beliefs of make love, not war, did drugs, and had long hair. Subculture theory also says that subcultures stand out and are recognized through the use of signs and symbols, and we discussed in this presentation you could easily recognize hippies from the use in peace signs, tie-dye, ripped jeans, and hair. And lastly, according to the subculture theory, a subculture dies when it becomes popular or commercialized. The hippies pretty much came to an end after Vietnam War and when business started to capitalize their image, like leather jackets and love beads. In conclusion, by examining the hippie culture, we can see how Dick Heppidy's subculture theory works by seeing how it plays out in history, from their start in the 1960s with their beliefs and practice to their finish in the 1970s when the war ended and their product became commercialized.